Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. They say money can't buy happiness. It can, however, buy a wedding venue, catering, an open bar, and a dance floor included. At least until the person footing the bill is informed they won't be welcome inside it. Today in the rLounge, a story about an invitation that mysteriously vanished and an invoice that didn't. My son let his mother ban me from his wedding. I canceled the reception hall I'd booked. My son texted me out of nowhere asking if we can meet up for coffee. We hadn't talked much since he got engaged a few months back, so I figured something was up. He's 26 now, been with his girlfriend for 4 years. He told me he was getting married in December and wanted me to be there. I'm not going to pretend that didn't feel good to hear. We talked about the wedding for a bit, and I asked if he needed help with costs. His mother and I divorced when he was 12, and despite everything that went down between us, I'd always imagined being part of this moment, contributing to it. He looked relieved when I offered, said they were struggling with venue costs and weren't sure how they'd make it work. The following week, I went venue hunting with him and his fiancée. We found this reception hall that had everything they wanted. The price tag was steep though. $18,000 for the venue, catering, and bar service for 200 guests. I didn't even hesitate. I told them I'd cover the entire cost. I put down a deposit that day and signed the contract. My name was on everything. About a month later, I paid the second installment. The venue required 75% upfront, with the final quarter due 2 weeks before the event. It was a lot of money, but this was my son's wedding. He kept thanking me through text, telling me how excited he was and how much it meant to him that I was making this possible. Then things started changing. When I'd ask about wedding details or offer to help with other things, he'd deflect or say his fiancée was handling everything. Something felt off, but I didn't want to be the parent who made everything about them, so I backed off a bit. Fast forward to late summer, and I got added to a group text called Wedding Updates and Planning. There were about 30 people in it, family from both sides, wedding party members, the whole deal. I started seeing updates about dress fittings, bachelor party plans, registry information. It felt good to be included in everything. That's when my ex-wife started posting in the group chat. She'd reserved hotel blocks for out-of-town guests. This was our first interaction in over a year. We don't do the friendly exes thing. She cheated during our marriage. The divorce was brutal, and we've kept our distance ever since. I kept it civil in the chat though. About a week after that, my phone rang at 11 at night. It was him, which was unusual. He sounded nervous, kept starting his sentences and stopping. Finally, he just came out with it. His mother was uncomfortable with me attending the wedding. I actually laughed because I thought he was joking, some kind of dark humor about the situation or whatever. He wasn't joking. He said his mother had been in therapy and that seeing me would trigger her trauma. I reminded him that she's the one who destroyed our marriage by sleeping with someone else. He got defensive immediately, said that was my version of events and that she'd been working through her pain from the relationship. I asked him directly if he was uninviting me from the wedding. He said his mother gave him an ultimatum. Either I don't attend or she doesn't. Apparently, the fiancé's family had gotten close with my ex over the past few years. They'd all bonded. I asked him if he remembered who paid for the reception hall. The line went quiet for a solid 10 seconds. Then he said they'd figure out how to pay me back eventually. The next morning, I woke up to 3 texts from him asking me to understand and be reasonable. I screenshot all of them, but don't respond. Instead, I called the venue. I spoke with the event coordinator and asked about the cancellation policy. She walked me through it. Since I was the contracted party, I could cancel. 2 days after the initial phone call, my brother contacted me. He'd heard about the situation from my son, who apparently reached out asking my brother to help convince me to accept being banned from the wedding I was funding. My brother told me what my son had said about me, called me dramatic, said I was making everything about me instead of supporting him on his big day. That specific detail stuck in my head. I've been called a lot of things in my life, but dramatic was never one of them. Especially not for having a problem being uninvited for my own son's wedding while being expected to keep the checks coming. The next morning, I called the venue back, told them I needed to cancel the event. I confirmed I understood completely. I sent my son a text the next morning. The venue for December 14th has been canceled. You have 86 days to find a new one. Good luck. My brother called again about a week later, said the family was in complete chaos. My son and his fiancée were desperately searching for venues, but everything in their budget was already booked. The few places that had availability were either in terrible locations or cost double what I'd been paying. He asked me what I wanted out of this. Did I want an apology? Did I want to be reinvited? I told him I wanted nothing. They'd found something, but it was a hotel conference room that looked like a corporate meeting space from the photos they'd shared. The cost was $12,000 for a much smaller capacity. His fiance's parents agreed to cover half. My ex-wife's new husband offered $2,000. My son posted that they'd have to take out a loan for the rest and cut out the guest list by 80 people. The wedding was now less than a month away. I heard from my brother that they were still hemorrhaging money on this thing. The hotel venue required them to use in-house catering, which was significantly more expensive than what the original venue offered. The guest list was down to 120 people. Several family members on my side had declined to attend after learning what actually happened. My cousin sent me photos the next day that someone had posted on social media. The hotel conference room looked exactly as depressing as it had in the planning photos. Fluorescent lighting, beige walls, dated carpet that had seen better days. The dance floor was just cleared space between round tables. My ex-wife was front and center in multiple photos, beaming in the camera. My son and his new wife looked stressed in every single candid shot. Not happy stressed, actually stressed. My brother gave me the full breakdown that week. The wedding had gone over budget by another $8,000. My son and his wife started their marriage in significant debt. Several guests had complained about the venue and to other family members. The hotel bar ran out of certain liquors halfway through the reception. The DJ's playlist got cut short because they hadn't paid for the full time slot. It was, by all accounts, a complete disaster compared to what it could have been. Update 1. It's been a few months since the wedding, and people keep asking if I'll post an update. Here it is. Early March, I heard from my brother that money was tight for the newlyweds. They'd significantly underestimated the wedding costs and were dealing with the reality of their debt now. They'd apparently asked my ex-wife and her husband for financial help. Got told no. Suddenly, all the people who demanded they exclude me weren't so generous when it came time to actually help with the consequences. The wife's parents were frustrated with my son and his wife for poor financial planning. The irony wasn't lost on me. These were the exact same people who'd backed my ex-wife's ultimatum about me not attending. Now they were judging the financial consequences of the choice they'd supported. My son's wife had posted asking for advice about family drama. She painted herself as the victim of a revengeful ex-father-in-law who sabotaged their wedding out of spite. Someone from that wedding planning group actually reached out to me directly. She'd seen through the story based on the timeline my son's wife had provided and realized something wasn't adding up. She'd done some digging and figured out the truth. Apparently she'd commented on the post, pointing out all the inconsistencies in her story. My son's wife deleted the entire thread within an hour. My ex-wife posted on social media about toxic people who use money to control others. Didn't name me directly, but the implication was obvious. The comments section got interesting though. Several people who knew the real story pushed back hard. One person straight up commented, "Didn't you force your son to uninvite his father from a wedding his father was paying for?" Mid-April brought some interesting news through the family grapevine. My son and his wife had apparently had a massive fight about money. She'd wanted to buy new furniture, and he'd reminded her they were still paying off the wedding. According to my brother's source, she'd screamed that the wedding wouldn't have been so expensive if he'd handled his father better. Translation, if he'd somehow managed to keep me paying while keeping me away. My brother told me my son had asked him if he thought I'd ever come around. My brother, to his credit, told him probably not. My son apparently got emotional about it, saying he didn't think I'd stay mad forever. Fast forward a few weeks later, there was apparently some drama at a family gathering. My ex-wife's new husband made a comment about how the wedding could have been better with a proper venue. My ex-wife completely lost it on him. There was a whole scene. Multiple people witnessed it. She screamed about how she'd done what she had to do, and if people had supported her more, things would have been fine. My son's wife's sister reached out during this time. She said she thought I should know that her sister was pregnant. Said my son probably wouldn't tell me himself. She also mentioned that her sister was panicking about baby costs given their existing debt situation. I thanked her for telling me, but said it didn't change anything about my position. My ex-wife was apparently giving my son and his wife constant parenting advice already, offering to babysit all the time once the baby came. She was positioning herself as the primary grandparent, the only grandparent that mattered. The role had been excluded from before it even existed. It stung more than I'd expected, if I'm being honest. I saw that my ex-wife had posted about becoming a grandmother on social media. This was weeks before the baby was even born. The post was completely saccharine and self-congratulatory. Multiple people commented about asking the other grandparents. She didn't respond to any of the comments. Some people who knew me commented anyway, saying they hoped both sides of the family would be involved. Those comments mysteriously disappeared from the post. July hit, and I got a notification that I'd been tagged in a post. My son's wife had posted a photo of a baby registry with a caption about all the grandparents they were so blessed to have. I was tagged along with my ex-wife, her husband, and her parents. I immediately untagged myself. This was pure performance. She was trying to make it look like everything was fine for her social media audience. That same week, my brother called me to tell me that my son's wife was telling people I'd come around and was excited for the baby. Complete fabrication. I told my brother to correct that story wherever he heard it. They didn't get to exclude me from the wedding and then pretend we were one big happy family when they wanted something from me. The baby arrived. I found out through social media like everyone else. My ex-wife posted dozens of photos of herself holding my grandchild at the hospital. My son's wife's parents were in the photos. I wasn't informed, wasn't invited, didn't exist in this narrative they were creating. About a week after the birth, my brother asked if I wanted to meet my grandchild. I told him not under these circumstances. He said the baby was innocent in all of this. I agreed completely. The baby was innocent, but I wasn't going to grovel for access to my grandchild after being erased from my son's life. 2 weeks after the birth, my son's wife posted a photo collage of grandparent visits. My ex-wife appeared in 6 photos, her husband in 4, her parents in 5. I wasn't in any of them. The comment section was full of people cooing about how blessed the baby was to have so much family. Early September, my son's wife's sister had apparently reached her limit. She told me her sister and my son were struggling badly with the baby. Sleep deprivation, financial stress, marital tension. My ex-wife was over there constantly, but instead of actually helping, she was just creating more work. Making messes, giving unsolicited advice, overstaying her welcome. That's where things stand now. 1 year since the wedding, I spent the anniversary having dinner with friends. I offered to pay for my son's entire wedding. I went venue hunting with him. I put down thousands of dollars. And when he chose to exclude me to appease his manipulative mother, I made a choice too. Your son didn't choose peace. He chose the path of least resistance and handed you the bill for it. His fiancée didn't misunderstand the situation. She benefited from it. And your ex didn't heal from trauma. She weaponized it. Funny how her discomfort only applied to your attendance, not your checkbook. When the venue disappeared, so did everyone's understanding. Suddenly, the people who insisted you be excluded had nothing to contribute except opinions. Principles are cheap. Venues are not. And the rewrite afterward? Predictable. You became the toxic one the moment you stopped being useful. Have you ever been uninvited from something? Share your stories in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.